Tripoli EDC back again with another knife video. I gave some initial thoughts on the Spyderco Canis yesterday. This just came out today as, well, the knife's not out yet, but the announcement came out today as a new addition to Benchmade's lineup. This is the automatic version of Benchmade's 940, very popular knife. Obviously, they had the 20th anniversary this year of the 940 axis lock, and I guess one of the things they're doing in addition to that titanium, the all-titanium version that was a limited production run, is a full production run of this, the 9400, which is a fully automatic Benchmade 940. Now, I wanted to go ahead and just give some initial thoughts about this knife and where I think it sits in the market currently. So I'm a big 940 fan. I really love the 940. I have a couple different versions of it, some of the higher end versions, and I'll tell you right off the bat, I do plan on picking this up. I will say it's probably not going to be for everyone, and not just because of the automatic knife laws, but we'll get to that in a minute. So first of all, first thing I noticed right away was the colors on this, obviously the green aluminum and the S30V satin finish blade. So this is obviously modeled right off the bat on the original 940, which had the green aluminum handle and the satin finish blade. And so I do like that it's playing off the original. However, I will say that I'm a little disappointed that they didn't come out with one of the, like a higher end version of it to really introduce an automatic version to everyone, and then later go back and say, all right, well, we'll do a version of the original as well. But I was a little bummed that they didn't do a higher version of it, whether that included carbon fiber, whether it included titanium, you know, but that being said, I'm okay with it. At the end of the day, a lot of automatics are in aluminum anyway. They're not necessarily in titanium. They're not necessarily in carbon fiber. A lot of them are aluminum, and even when if you look at Microtech, for example, even when they're in carbon fiber, it's usually a carbon fiber top with the body of it being aluminum. So, you know, I guess I can't fault them too much for it, although there is a little bit of a letdown factor in the fact that they didn't come out with nicer materials for such I guess a big departure of such a classic knife from the way it had operated in the past. Also, one thing you'll notice as well is that it is a button lock. That is an amazing thing because a lot of Benchmade's out the side opening autos, such as the Adamas, use the axis lock as the auto functioning button. So you pull back the axis lock, and that is what deploys the knife out and causes it to rocket out. And there's usually a lock on the back you can see protruding up, and that lock, you know, you can toggle back and forth, and again, you know, actuate the axis lock to put it out. So I'm okay with that. I don't necessarily love that because the way your hand gets positioned to pull it back, especially with the Adamas and how much of a thunk it gives, it does cause it to want to jump out of your hand a little bit more, maybe a little less sure grip. But here, whoops, I have the different 940s there. Here you have the button lock, which is really what a lot of Protechs have. I really love the button lock. I like, on autos anyway, I like the button lock a lot on autos. Definitely gives me, you know, it stays secure in hand. You're only really using your thumb to actuate it, just pushing a button while you maintain a four-finger grip on the bottom side of the knife. So I think that's great. And you know, it also is just a little bit more fidgety for when you want to push it down and close it. You don't have to worry about pulling something back while you're closing it with one hand as well. So it's a little harder to do on the Adamas because it's a larger knife. I'm hoping that it'll be easy to fidget back and forth on this, a la the Invictus, which you've seen on the channel before. Again, I would have liked to see a little bit higher steel. Even if they kept the aluminum, I would have loved to see an S30V version, maybe with a different shade of aluminum, perhaps black aluminum like they have on the 940, and an S90V blade. I think that would have been a great combination to start this off with, especially since it's sort of a new release. But this is S30V. S30V is completely fine. I think it's a great steel for side opening automatics, so I really don't have too much of a problem with it. But you know, I would like to see that change as well. One thing you'll notice right off the bat is this is $229.50. The MSRP on this is $270. This is $229.50 at the retail price, which is the markdown price. That's not great. A normal 940, you can see here, is going to cost you $187, and the G10 version is going to cost you $174. So this is a full, you know, $13 plus, let's do some quick math, 13 plus 30, you know, you're looking at, you know, $43 or so more for the automatic version. I don't love that. It's not too much of a departure from the $50 more you're going to pay for the automatic. This is $250 over the $199 you're going to pay for the base model of the Adamas. So it is a little bit less of a differential on the 940 than it is on the Adamas. But, you know, again, I would like to see them come in with a little bit more reasonable of a price. That being said, look, $229 for an out-the-side automatic is under what ProTech charges for similar materials. You know, ProTech is going to charge 154 cm and aluminum. A lot of people were complaining about the price, but ProTech is going to, like I said, is going to charge 154 cm and aluminum. And Microtech, you know, for out-the-side automatics is going to be charging between, you know, 250 and 300 for, you know, the Microtech LUDT or the Socom Elite. And so I think this is not a bad price for a side opening automatic, as bad as people think, but it is a little high because I think people's baseline price is going to be with the original 940, which some people still see as sitting high on the market pricing for materials wise. So I will say that is going to price some people out of the market. And I do wish it came in a little lower, but I understand and can definitely justify, like I just said, the pricing on this. I don't think it's, you know, I've held other Benchmade out-the-side automatics. I think ProTech does usually do a better out-the-side automatic than Benchmade does. So, you know, they can justify a little bit higher price point, I think, on their out-the-side automatics. But again, this is cheaper than most ProTechs for out-the-side automatics. You know, in this price range, or is at least on par with those. So it's not too bad. I will be picking one up. I'm pretty excited for it. I don't know when it's going to come out. They haven't really announced that yet. This is really just up for pre-order, but I'm excited about it, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts below on both the price, the materials used, and you know, whether or not you think it's you know, a good strategy for Benchmade right now. Thanks so much.